Well, everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to Lost in the Wasteland, my weekly interview show where I get to hear about somebody else's perspective on movies. And a special guest for his second time around here is Math Teacher Movies from Instagram, which he puts out a lot of amazing content. So, you know what? Shameless plugs for him before he even gets to shamelessly plug his own stuff. So, Sean, thank you so much for coming on.
Shane, thank you so much for having me. And I love the Shane Sean exchange. I think that's just a
Yep.
wonderful thing as we go back and forth.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, putting in a lot of different, stuff on there with Math Teacher Movies. I'm in I don't know if you recognize from the background, it looks very similar, but I'm in a new house. We bought a house. I got married. We have a dog. We haven't put up the white picket fence yet. We're still working on that. But
There we
after
go.
that, it's all going to be good. But
That has to be a
no,
weekend project, right?
Oh god, yeah. The next weekend free, which is like in about 6 years, but then we'll be good.
There you go. But Sean, before we get started, would you like to shamelessly plug
I
anything for
have
our
to
lovely
shamelessly
guest?
plug. I have to shamelessly plug. So on Instagram is Math Teacher Movies. That's where the majority of my content is. I review everything from the past, present, and once in a while, future. I do a lot of different examinations of old movies and a lot of TV as well. I also have a podcast with my buddy Joe. It's the Guy at the Movies podcast. We usually premiere them every Wednesday. It basically covers movie news and what we've been watching. The latest one, we argue about Black Adam, and we have very, very, very differing opinions, which
Ah,
made it more fun because instead of both of us trashing on it.
I honestly, at this point, I have very, you know, just it was a movie feelings
Yeah,
about Black Adam.
it was interesting. I didn't walk out offended. Like that's a
Yeah.
very low bar, but like, that's pretty much where I was. I was like, I wasn't mad about the world.
I didn't walk out to go to the bathroom and not feel bad like I did during Morbius earlier this year.
See,
Because I did do that. I got a
it's
large Dasani at AMC, and I'm just like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. There's probably like 20 minutes left in this movie. You know what? I'm just gonna go. And they went, and I came back, and you know, Morbius was still there.
it was one of I did the same thing, and I came back, and it was the moment where he broke out of prison, and so there was props to Morbius. There was a lot of context clues. It was like, oh hey, he broke out of prison. I don't think I needed to see it. I got the gist of it.
But now for our second round here on the show, I like to start off with what I like to call the watch list question. So, Sean, I know you do go back and watch a lot of older movies and stuff like that. But what is a previous release film that you have not watched yet that you're most excited to check out?
There's about 700 of them.
Yeah.
My watch list grows every single day, and so it's really difficult for me to pin down just one because every month, and I call it New Criterion Day, where
Yeah.
I go to the Criterion channel and there's a whole bunch of new movies. I've got to say right now, if I was just like if I just literally like did a slot machine rundown, and I have not seen HUD yet, which is one of Paul
Okay.
Newman's movies. And I'm a huge Paul Newman fan. And I heard HUD is the one where he plays someone quite dastardly and quite evil in general. And I'm like, that's a new Paul Newman for me. I mean, he's played some complex characters, but
Yeah.
I don't know about straight up evil. And so it'll be really interesting to see what that one gives. So that's probably my biggest excitement at this point. But oh my God, there's so many.
Oh, I get it. I was just adding some to my watch list in the hundreds. Hundreds. But it was interesting. HUD definitely shot up there for me after I watched that Ethan Hawke documentary on
Yes.
HBO because I remember them talking about that very distinctly. I'm like, I haven't seen that one. I'm definitely going to put that on my watch list. So there you go. Now let's point to the future. So, Sean, what's a film yet to be released that you're most excited to check out?
This season is so fun right now. I mean, we got Fablemans, which Fablemans is just catnip for me. It might even be bad, but I'm just going to be so excited for like, oh, a biopic about or a biography, self-biography, autobiography about Steven Spielberg that's about him making his movies. And I'm like, I can't not love that. Like, it's going to
Yeah.
be pure cheese. I mean, The Whale, I'm just more curious about than anything else because they haven't put out a trailer. There's a chance they don't, which will be really interesting. Because like at this point, they're like, because there's a lot of controversy surrounding that one. But also Fraser's performance is phenomenal. But tomorrow, I already have the ticket for it. I'm going to be seeing Banshees of Inisherin, and
Very
I mean,
nice.
I won't lie. Like Martin McDonagh usually pleases. I was not a big Three Billboards guy. It's fine, but I'm glad he's not doing anything in America anymore.
Yeah. Honestly, so I got to see it a couple weeks ago in New York because I happened to be meeting some of my Sif Pop friends for the first time in person, and we met up in New York City, and it happened to be playing at Lincoln Square AMC, and we caught it after Black Adam. What a wonderful feature.
Wow, that is the most intense whiplash I think anyone could experience in cinema.
I saw The Rock's face on a 70-foot tall IMAX screen and then sat there. It's very much in Bruges energy and like it's very, very, very Irish. So like there's like this is not American at all, and I loved every second of it.
So now I'm curious because like my wife is not coming to this, but she is someone that doesn't like to go to the theater for the main reason of there's not subtitles. Is there going to be a problem for me without any closed captioning because of these Irish accents?
There might be a few moments, mostly with Barry Keoghan, like him 100%. There's a couple.
He's got a thick accent, yeah.
I'm like, what the hell did he just say? But there's some moments, but in general, you know what they're talking about. So, but yeah, I want like everybody to check that out. That movie needs all the love.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I think they really, because a lot of people love Three Billboards, so they really need to be pushing that a little bit more, which I feel like the advertising isn't doing. It's like, you could say Martin McDonagh for us cinephiles. We'll know what you're talking about. But if you say like from the people that brought you In Bruges and Three Billboards, I think like people will flock to it then, because right now I don't know what the advertising is because I don't like watch regular TV anymore. Like I see trailers. I don't know how films are advertised anymore. Truly, so like it's just I see the trailers for the 100 films I watch a week. So who knows what actually is being advertised? But I really hope this does well. I think like Martin McDonagh doesn't have a huge name, but he has like a good enough reputation now that he can do pretty well.
It's funny. I don't really watch regular TV either, except when I'm watching baseball and football. That's basically it. But like, yeah, I don't think I've seen a single ad on TV for Banshees of Inisherin. So I just
would kill for a Banshees of Inisherin commercial to come on during football sounds just absolutely wonderful.
Wrong football.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I think it's really interesting because most film, like real cinephiles, hate the idea of remakes because a lot of the times they're lazy. It's like, why'd you make this? Because money. But Sean, what is a film that you actually want to see remade?
So when I think about remakes, like 90% of them do suck. They just do. But there's the rare occurrence where they're like, when you put something like original to it, an original spin to it, and you do something different with it, which could be making it a lot of fun. And so I'm like all for like any remake. I'm going to cheat a little bit on this question because I don't know if this movie's actually coming out or not. But there is the rumors of David Fincher doing a Strangers on a Train remake.
I heard that too, on a plane.
Yeah. What, is it going to be on a plane now?
I thought that when I originally heard it, I thought it was going to be on a plane. But like, I love that idea.
Yeah, because that's one that could benefit from a modern setting. And that's where you get the remake magic. It's like you're remaking Hitchcock. Like, is it going to be better? No. Is it going to be different? Yeah. And it could be something interesting. And I mean, it's funny you talked about the plane because I imagined it on a modern train and I liked that more than like a plane seems a little bit claustrophobic. You can't get off of it. Like, I don't know like how they're going to.
And like, you can't just be like, let's murder people. What? The third person in your row just like, what are you talking about?
It's also actually in both of these situations, it's going to be very tough. It would have to be a world without COVID because you required masks on both planes and trains. Actually, you're not anymore. Oh, well, regardless, but like, like with the mask universe.
Fincher's been waiting. He's just been waiting. We need to get these lifted. So
I had to wait for the mandates to lift for this one.
yeah, because I remember, like, I heard about this like a couple years ago, and
It
Ben
was a while
Affleck, I
ago.
think, was attached because hot off a Gone Girl.
Yeah.
And so that's an interesting one. And that, yeah, it's a bold choice to remake Hitchcock, but like it's Fincher. So I feel like you could do something with it.
And you don't paint it as a complete remake of like Hitchcock. Like I mean, there's other remakes out there. Like True Grit is like quite a classic, and they just decided to like make it its own, completely own separate movie. And I think that's what Strangers on a Train could do. There'll be the people like us that will like riot and be upset, but also with a name like Fincher, not totally. Like people would be like, okay, I can subscribe to this.
It's like, why are they remaking West Side Story? Spielberg's making it.
Yeah.
Huh.
I remember when that was coming out and the trailers were coming out, I was the only one mad about it. And I'm like, why aren't we all mad? Usually we're mad about remakes. Then I saw it and it was amazing, so I can't say anything anymore.
I should never have doubted you, Steven Spielberg.
I always
Now,
do.
Sean, I think this is a special question to ask because, COVID, not being able to go to the theaters as much. But what is your fondest memory of going to the movies?
Wow, this is a tough one because there are so many possibilities here. I mean, I feel like top tier already is Captain America lifting the hammer and Avengers Endgame. That's too difficult to not have. Like the kid in front of me just absolutely, he's a kid, he's like 10 years old. He was like born when Iron Man came out and he just like, has, yeah. And so there's that right there. And explaining to my wife very quickly, by the way, Thor's the only one that can lift the hammer unless someone else is worthy, like as he's going up because I don't spoil it. And so like that's like kind of like a already like obvious one. I think my experience in Get Out was amazing. And it was in a theater with mainly, and this happened in also Us, where it was a theater with mainly people of color, and it was an absolute blast. I had an absolute blast there. It was just so much fun. I think my best might be during the trailers of Dunkirk, because there were a million trailers and you keep on seeing the green screen when you want the movie to start. And as people that go to the theater, we know this suffering, but there was like a 95-year-old World War II veteran. I'm assuming he was a World War II veteran, but he was just a very old, crabby man. And every time that green screen showed up, he was just like, God damn it, like screaming. So now me and my buddy, who lost it every time that would happen, me and my buddy, now whenever we see the green screen when we go to the movies, we're just like, God damn it. So that has become this lasting memory for me. This poor guy who was like, I just want to see this World War II movie, is just like inundated by trailers about like flying like superheroes.
Yeah, and you know what? At least he didn't have Nicole Kidman on top of it.
Oh, see, that's like, I'm telling you, for a while, I'm now accustomed to it, but for a while, it was like I was like, all right, movie's starting, and then Nicole's puddle comes in there, and I'm like, oh man, like every time gets me.
I think the best one is when you know that people don't go to the movies enough to realize that's in front of everyone at AMC, and you hear the groans when it starts playing, and I let out an audible one just because I know it's coming, and I'm pissed off every time that it does.
I have a horrible bladder, as we talk about going to the bathroom in the theaters. I have a terrible bladder. So pretty much like when the ending AMC logo comes up before the Nicole Kidman, I dart out of the theater, go to the bathroom. I'm able to get back in time every time just to see Nicole Kidman sit in her theater and get comfortable. So
they're gonna throw a curveball and show the shortened version.
There's a shortened version? How dare
they? How dare they? If they're gonna make us sit through this, it better be all of Nicole Kidman.
I want to see the entire one.
You know what? I don't. You know what? It worked. Look how much people talk about this Nicole Kidman ad, because at AMC they won. They got us.
Well, AMC just this like, I heard the CEO is an absolute nut job. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but I heard he just does like crazy stuff all the time. And like, he's just like, you know what? I'm going to put Nicole Kidman in front of every movie, the same exact stupid ad. And it's become the most intense meme of all time. It's an SNL sketch. It wanted to be, Schumer wanted to do it at the Oscars, but they didn't let her. But it's like, come on. That's just like perfectly suited. And also AMC is responsible for my 3 weeks, three movies a week subscription, which is like, I'm basically stealing money from them. So I'll take it.
There you go. Now, Sean, what's a film that you saw that really exceeded your expectations?
I'm trying to think of the best one I can think of with this. I mean, I'm really gonna probably go with one that like I don't even know what my expectations were for this one, but they definitely weren't this, and that was Barbarian most recently, which was
Yep.
it's like what like I don't know what I was no, I know what I was expecting. I was expecting like the entire movie to be about her going down a hallway as creatures come at her, because that's what the trailer dictated. Exceptional trailer, by the way, because
Yes.
truly you like they didn't give away a thing. And then this
Nope.
movie is the
Did
most
not.
unexpected, insane, baffling movie that is then hilarious, brought on by Justin Long.
Yep.
I was truly I loved that movie, mainly because of how much it shocked me. People have said that a second viewing they're not as excited about it, and it's like I don't even care. Like I'll probably never watch it again. But it was amazing that first time around.
I don't think I ever laughed as hard in my life about a tape measure as I did watching Barbarian.
It was perfect because I was laughing my ass off as he's backing into a dark hallway, and I'm also terrified for him because I'm thinking he's about to get like eaten or whatever. And I'm like, so like there's this mix of emotions, and I always am someone that says that horror and comedy are just like very, very synonymous with one another, and that's why there's a lot of horror comedies. But I couldn't believe like being that scared and also laughing that hard when it would cut like to him looking at another room and like scary music, and then just cut to him measuring it again.
And he's just like, all right. It just starts. That got me every time. And I saw a press screening of that. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there and all these people are just reacting to this out of nowhere. Oh man, it was something else. Something else. Now, Sean, I don't know if you're much of a reader, but what is a written work that you would love to see adapted into a film? And you can use
reader.
Well, you can use written work very loosely. So
I want to see. This has been my dream, and I don't know how it happens because you cannot adapt Catcher in the Rye the way it is. It's an unadaptable, unfilmable. It's been achieved as an unfilmable. So I will not say officially that you can like I want to see the Catcher in the Rye adapted because I don't think it works as a film. I want to see something involved in some sort of meta commentary about a Holden Caulfield type character and someone being obsessed with the Holden Caulfield type character. Now, this gets into some scary, Mark David Chapman situations. And I don't know if I want to go down that road. So that gets a little bit interesting because I don't want to make this real in that situation. But I think that like when you look at the actual Catcher in the Rye, it's not like an amazing story. It's an amazing character of Holden Caulfield. So I want to see that character adapted. Now, thankfully that will never happen. And I don't think it would be good if we ever saw it. Like, I'm just so intrigued by that kind of situation happening. Now you know how bad of a reader I am that I chose a freshman English book. That was probably the last time I read a book.
Well, you know what? I think my favorite author ever adapted into an animated series was J.D. Salinger. So there you go. From BoJack Horseman. Hey, I'm J.D. Salinger.
I'm trying to think of who voiced him. It was
Alan Arkin.
It was Alan Arkin. I thought it was Alan Arkin. Oh my goodness. I forgot that I never rewatch anything. I hate rewatching things. But I think I got to give BoJack another spin because there's like little things like that. Well, I will never in a million years remember that until now.
So I'm reading a Game of Thrones, and now I'm just sitting here. I'm like, I kind of want to watch Game of Thrones season 1 over again because, like, I don't really rewatch TV either because there's just too much of it to keep up with. So, like, it's easy to pop in a movie and rewatch a movie, but going through a whole entire series, that's something else. But I would definitely rewatch BoJack. It's like, welcome to J.D. Salinger's Celebrities. Do they know things and stuff?
Hollywood celebrity. The fact that they hung on to Hollywood for like
I don't even call it Hollywood anymore. I just call it Hollywood.
Why would you? I mean, come on. It's perfect.
That's how much that joke landed for me. Now, Speaking of all the lovely things we watch before a movie starts, is trailers. Sean, what is your favorite movie trailer?
See, it's so tough because I feel like whenever I think about my favorite movie trailer, I think about how manipulated I was
Yeah.
by, a great song in a movie trailer. Like Licorice Pizza, it's like, yeah, sure. If you put David Bowie's Life on Mars to
Yeah.
anything, it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Like, is that a good trailer or is that just Life on Mars the perfect trailer song? And I think it's Life on Mars is the perfect trailer song. I like there's certain trailers that I'm drawn to that I've never even seen the movie of. I think, and this is like a bad trailer, by the way, but I'm drawn to it somehow. It's I believe it's called What If with Daniel Radcliffe, Adam Driver, Zoe Kazan, and
Hmm.
exactly that's of course the face that needs to be given to that movie because the trailer is also not good, but I find myself searching it on YouTube and watching it again. And I think it's because, like, I don't know, like, there's something about it where it's a cheesy romantic comedy, and I think it was like, I think when I first saw the trailer, once again, have not seen the movie, but like, when I saw the trailer, I was in my phase of like utter romantic, thinking
Yeah.
that like that, the cynical guy about love with the utter, the romantic side to me, and like thinking I have that depth to me when I really friggin' don't. And I think like that like drew me to that trailer. So an actual good example for this, because I want to actually give a legitimate like trailer, and I can't think of a good trailer, so I've been like stalling this entire time. But I would say the teaser to Dunkirk, just like off the top of my head. This is only because we were talking about Dunkirk before, I think. But
Yeah.
I remember the teaser to Dunkirk was just 1 minute. Like you don't see anything
Yeah.
except for that one amazing scene where like the one soldier looks back and then they all start to look back and then they all have to get down and it's like I think that's how you nail down a trailer because it like that is just flat out like terrifying and told us nothing and it was perfect really.
Well, and you know what's funny is, you know what Christopher Nolan needs to do for a teaser for his movies? Syncope. And
Oh
just the
yeah.
title of the movie. And then like the internet's gonna be like, oh my
He
god.
gets so close to that in his teasers. Let's remember what Dark Knight was, where it was just Michael Caine talking, Christian Bale talking, then Heath Ledger talking, and then the Batman symbol, and that was
Yeah.
it. So he's already getting pretty close.
Which, like, I remember when, oh, what movie did it play before? The um Oppenheimer trailer.
Oh God, what did it play before?
Was
Nope.
it
No.
Us? Not
I think
Us.
it was
Nope.
no. Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
Nope.
Because I'm sitting there, I'm like, because I love Nolan when literally syncope pops up on the screen. I'm like, and then everybody else is like, my wife's like, what? And I'm just like, it's Nolan. And then flames. And
Just
like,
nothing but now it's like blue flames. I bet he just took the same blue flame from the Dark Knight. He's just like, yeah, sepia tone this.
yeah,
And just put him up there.
flames, a ticking clock, Killian Murphy's face, boom, teaser trailer.
God.
I think so. I think the best teaser trailer of all time was The Irishman, where it's just like Martin Scorsese, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, Harvey Keitel. It's like, I heard you paint houses. Yes, yes, I do. Irishman. That's it. That was it.
Oh
And
my
it's just
God.
like, I'm just like, yep, got me.
And I thought that was, and then he does release a second trailer, and I was pretty disappointed because I thought that was going to be it. Because at this point, it's just that's all you need to do. I mean, Tar most recently had that crazy teaser trailer of just Kate Blanchett blowing smoke, and then 2 seconds of her conducting the orchestra, and then that was it. And I was like, well, that's all you need because if you do a full trailer, still no one's going to care. This is, all you need to say is Todd Field and Kate Blanchett, and it's just like Todd Field's coming back after a 16-year hiatus. No one else, like if no one knows that, they're not going to care about a 2-minute trailer in that regard.
No, and I did see the 2-minute trailer, and I'm like, what the hell's this movie about?
It
So
doesn't say anything. Yeah.
there you go. Because it's a 2 hour and 40-minute movie that you wind up sitting through. Now, we did allude to talking about some songs here. Now, Sean, what's your favorite use of a song in a movie?
It's difficult to top. Tarantino just has such a good eye for the needle drop.
It's am I going to pick Tarantino? Am I going to pick Scorsese? Am I going to pick Edgar Wright or James Gunn? It's just like
James Gunn's got it. Well, you think about I'm thinking about the soundtracks now. I mean, like with Tarantino, I mean, I think about right off the bat, like the Pulp Fiction, Son of a Preacher Man, when he's going into Mia Wallace's house, is just like a really good, very subtle, but really solid. Like tells us what this setting is, tells us what the story is, tells us everything about Uma Thurman's character before we even know anything about Uma Thurman's character.
Yeah.
Little green paper bag at the beginning of Reservoir Dogs is like amazing. I mean, just like sets the tone for that.
Low motion walking in a parking lot.
just slow motion walking with the scenes. Django Unchained with the remix of "I Like the Way You Die," in like all of a sudden just like showing up right there.
Yeah.
I think it's really tough to beat Tarantino. I mean, Scorsese's got a good ear for music. Edgar Wright is an interesting one for me. Because I like the more of his movies that don't involve as much of like the musical choices that he brings in, like basically the Cornetto trilogy. But
like Baby Driver is literally just music.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing when he puts that in. I don't think maybe it's because, and this is shallow of me, I didn't recognize many of the songs because I'm not a big music guy. So that's where
he definitely picked some obscure shots in like you have like 50 Queen songs that people love, and then you still found a Queen song that nobody's ever heard of.
James Gunn, I like. I mean, what he did with Guardians is like truly amazing. I mean, he turned like the soundtrack is something even bigger. It's like I think that's the last album I bought on iTunes before, just before it wasn't like a thing anymore. Because I bought that album and I'm like, I need to keep this going because this is just such a great. It tells the movie itself. It's like listening to the Hamilton soundtrack. It's just well done in that regard, and obviously it sets the tone in the very beginning. Once again,
when you have the song Brandy from a random band from the 70s be the crux to your movie and literally be a plot thread and thematic anchor to the movie, and you're just like, what?
I mean, Fleetwood Mac is badass anyway. I consider them a badass rock band, but they made them the most badass moment of all time in Volume 2. And I'm not a big Volume 2 guy, but it works in terms of that one. It does.
Yeah, Tarantino's up there. Scorsese. Well, what's interesting is Scorsese is his music supervisor on so many of his films is Robbie Robertson from the band. So he's working with him and just being like, I got you. and of course, how many different times can I put Gimme Shelter to a Scorsese movie?
And then it works every time. I mean, I think about Gimme Shelter and The Departed, and it's really good. And even though it's in this very weird spot, it still sets a perfect tone. I mean, Goodfellas just absolutely rolls when it comes to the soundtrack on that, which is it's unbelievable.
Oh, when they play specifically the musical interlude at the end, second half of Layla for that whole entire death montage.
You think Eric Clapton, when he was writing that, he was going to be like, yeah, this is going to be associated with finding a bunch of dead people.
This is going to be in a Scorsese movie someday. There you go. Now, Sean, are you the kind of person that likes to listen to scores?
Yes and no. I mean, I my issue is that my entire time my ears are occupied on listening to podcasts. So
that is fair. But if you were going to listen to one, what would it be?
Back when I was writing papers and stuff like that, and I had to get myself going. I mean, so one thing was Explosions in the Sky, so that I guess would be considered the Friday Night Lights score.
Okay.
But that was one that got me going. But I would say Rudy would also do it. A lot of football scores, apparently.
There you go.
But boy, what scores? I'm thinking about some other ones that I would probably listen to, and what I have listened to. I mean, our family, when it came out, was obsessed with Titanic. It's a movie that is formative to me. It is just truly something that is it's what got me into movies. So I owe it that. We could talk about its quality. We could talk about its dialogue. We can go there if we want to, but I'll just go to the fact that this movie, did a lot for me in terms of interest in movies. Now that score is pretty amazing. And I always respect a score that works in the original song, because I think this best original song just playing at the credits is a bunch of BS. I think you got to put try to right now. I'm pretty sure Lady Gaga's "Hold My Hand" is going to be winning best song for Top Gun Maverick, and it should, because that score weaved in there. Yeah. So I will say, like, the Titanic score was a big one for me, because we had the CD, we popped it in on our trips to Vermont or the Cape Cod, and so that's when before headphones existed and everything like that, we'd all listen to the same thing, and we would listen to legitimately the Titanic score. So I think I have to give it to that one.
There you go. I think I have found the credit song that actually deserves to win an Oscar, and it's the one Weird Al Yankovic wrote for the Weird movie. So when people get to go see Weird, you better sit through the credits, because it's worth it.
Of course he wrote a song for his movie. Wow. How did I not know that? Oh, that's got to happen. That's got to happen. It's going to be a crazy year for Best Original Song. A very crazy year. I'm looking forward to it.
You know what? Weird, the Al Yankovic story, Best Picture nominee. Boom. There we go.
You're calling your shot. I love it.
Calling that shot. It's getting nominated with Top Gun and Everything Everywhere All at Once.
It is really, that's the thing. The Best Picture is just going to include, also Wakanda Forever, Avatar: The Way of Water. It's just going to be the year of blockbusters, which I am absolutely here for.
Yeah, because Don't Worry, Darling, and Amsterdam were just we came and we I felt flat on our face on the way to the Oscars.
Amsterdam was really hoping to be the best World War I film this year, and then All Quiet on the Western Front sneaks up on Netflix and is like, no, I'll take that mantle.
Yeah, it's like, thank you, goodbye.
Yep, I got this.
And I didn't need to have Christian Bale explain the whole entire movie to me in the last 5 minutes. There we go. Speaking of, things that I wish movies would stop doing, Sean, what's the one thing you wish movies would stop doing?
God, this is a really tough one, because there's always things that annoy me in various parts. I'm going with recent answers on a lot of these. I finally watched See How They Run, and it's because it just showed up on HBO Max, and I did not like this movie for a few reasons that I won't get into now. But one of the reasons I didn't like it is because it called out its flaws while having those flaws. And that's a thing where I'm just like, that doesn't excuse the flaws. They're you can't do flashbacks. They're terrible and lazy. Cut to them doing a flashback. And I just think it's no, I mean, this is not a movie, but Family Guy does that all the time, where they make fun of the way they tell jokes. And I'm like, there's a certain, I admire the self-awareness, but you're going to jump a little bit too far over it. There is 2 movies that are from the same director that I can't remember, but Friends with Benefits and Easy A. Fun movies. I do like them, but both of them are this is not a teen comedy, or otherwise this and this would happen. Those things happen, and then so therefore it's a teen comedy, where it's the other one is this is not a romantic comedy, otherwise this and this would happen. That those things happen and it becomes romantic comedy. And there's a lot of other examples of that, but that blew my mind that director did it twice in 2 different movies. And I think that's don't get me wrong. Once again, self-awareness is a lovely thing. I think it's great. Make fun of yourself all you want. But if you make fun of yourself and then you keep doing that thing in the movie, it's a little bit tricky for me.
Well, and especially when you make fun of it and then try to do it earnestly.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, this is a legitimate part of our movie, but you're not laughing at it anymore. And you're just like at least something like It's Not Another Teen Movie has the courage to just be like, this is all a joke. And all of those movies, no, everything's just a joke.
Yes.
No matter how good the movie actually is, at least it sticks to the bit.
Those are the ones where it's that's true. The other ones are earnest with their endings and stuff. This one is just no, we are completely making fun of ourselves.
Yeah. The only reason that popped up is because I talked about that on my Rowan and the Wasteland podcast with my friend Rowan. I'm just I hadn't watched that in a good 15 years. Because I can't remember last time I didn't watch on Comedy Central. I'm just sitting watching it, and I just love the part where it's just oh, her? The one in overalls and glasses? And it's just the one who looks extremely attractive, but who happens to be wearing overalls and sunglasses.
The token black guy in Not Another Teen Movie. I recently watched She's All That. Dule Hill is playing that exact role, like almost like perfectly. And there are moments where he is standing motionless and quiet in She's All That, where it's just like I'm just looking at him and I'm like, oh my God, they really just used him for the occasional jab. Like it was kind of scary. And like, thank God they called it out and Not Another Teen Movie, but it was like a little bit nuts when I saw it finally in She's All That, which is the entirety of what Not Another Teen Movie is. Sure, a couple of other things here and there, but like that was the main focus.
Yeah. Sometimes meta works. Sometimes meta doesn't. And some things just need to stop. Family Guy.
Oh boy. Well, the fact that like Family Guy probably will never stop because Simpsons still hasn't stopped, and I don't even know if Simpsons is good anymore because I don't know anyone who I don't think anyone who watches it. I forget there's flyover states. Props to them. They're probably tuning into Simpsons every Sunday. I don't know, but like because I always forget about them. But like someone is. Otherwise, how would they be making this?
Like it's funny because I still watch Bob's Burgers, but like I love Bob's Burgers, and like I actually care about these characters.
Yeah,
unlike Family Guy.
Yeah, I think there's something about Bob's Burgers is still only on its like 10th or 11th season, and I don't know.
It's not on 30.
Yeah, exactly. Like they just went through their movie phase, like so they're like still like
13 years in, finally got a movie.
They did it.
There you go. But Sean, I always like to wrap up this show by allowing my guest to ask me a question.
Oh, I remember that's what the wild card was. Okay, so I don't know if we talked about this personally last time, or I've just talked about this in another podcast. So, what true story would you want to see made into a movie?
Okay. I don't know. So, hear me out. So, this is very relevant and very topical right now. And you can have fun with it. So I'm a big sports fan. I love baseball. I think baseball is so just made for movies. There's like a magic to baseball because otherwise, why would you sit there for 3 hours watching it? But these Phillies, this ragtag random group of people on this team, if they win the World Series this week, I want to see like a major league tone actual movie about this team where they lean into it. I like even exaggerate it. Go weird. The Al Yankovic story, which isn't really an actual biopic. Like throw some crazy stuff in it. But like I want to see something that leans into how outrageous this team is and how the hell did they win the World Series. It's just this is so relevant in my mind because I'm thinking like, oh my God, it's 45 minutes in. I wonder if they're winning. So like it's one of those kinds of things. But like I think that would be a lot of fun.
This was such a tough World Series for me because, like, as a Boston fan, I didn't really care about either of these teams. But I guess I'm like kind of against Philly, and Astros have the cloud over them of like the cheating scandal and everything. But I kind of admire the Astros for doing this thing where now they're like, obviously, so-called possibly playing legitimate, and therefore they're still able to do it. And as a Pats fan, I kind of like that after our cheating scandals. And then, like, so-called probably, like, so I admire them there.
Except they've got caught cheating twice in this series already.
Twice. But they have, did they really? The Astros did?
Yeah. So one of the guys was trying to purposefully get hit in game one, and Thumb's like, get your ass back to home plate. And then their catcher was using a legal bat.
Oh boy.
And they're just
trying to get hit thing, that's baseball. I get that one. The bat is bad. Like the bat is bad.
And that's just like, and you know what they did? They're like, don't use this anymore. Oh. You're not gonna do anything else about it.
They're like, listen, we've been down this road already with them. If we accuse them of cheating, there'll be another pandemic, and they'll get away with it anyway. So let's just like keep them going. At this point, though, like I like the Phillies now. Mainly, like I don't think you're supposed to like Philly fans, like of any of the Philly sports. You're
Well,
not
here's the
supposed to
thing.
like
Do you
them.
like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I do. So there we go.
So that's the thing. That's not wrong,
Yeah.
like at all.
Like, and that's where I'm at with it. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Like, this is like me hating New York fans as a Boston fan. Like, at this point, Philly fans, New York fans, Boston fans, we're psychopaths. We break stuff when they win, and we talk funny. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing different in all of those. So at this point, it's like, sure, I'm gonna root for the Philly fans, even though like they're supposedly like me, but like, just the bizarro me. Like,
Yeah.
So I'll take it.
They're the alternate dimension Boston fans. They're the alternate dimension New York fans. It's just like it's like all kinds of weird. It's like I'm watching this game, like it feels like I'm watching a concert.
Oh yeah.
Like everybody's like freaking the F out.
I'm now for some reason on Philly's TikTok. And so pretty much I'm getting the dancing on my own when they're at the bar singing. And now that song's stuck in my head, which I'm not hating. But it is one of these situations where I'm just like, okay, I am enjoying this environment where like, I'm sure there's fans in Houston going like, yeah, but like, I don't know what they're really doing. Like,
they're not going completely insane like the people in Philadelphia. South Philly is going to explode if they win the World Series on Thursday. That thing's going to go nuclear.
So I'm not following it too well, and I just like saw the meme of the Richter scale going off. And then I thought like I'm not in enough sort of out of it. I was like, oh wow, well the Phillies won the World Series because the Richter scale went up. No, that was to go 2-1. Like this is
they won a game.
That was to go, not even 3-1, 2-1.
It's crazy, and you have like Miles Teller at all the games now.
Oh god.
Yeah, and he's going nuts. Mac and like from Always Sunny.
Glenn Howerton and Charlie Day.
No, his wife, who's
oh shoot, Sweet D, but what's
D?
her name?
Yeah, D and Mac are there. The Phillies games too, and just like we have Philly celebrities. And it's basically like you're just gonna have people running up to the art museum after they win on Thursday. If they win on Thursday, just jumping up and down like Rocky and trying to climb poles and shit, which they have greased.
They have greased the poles, which is
amazing.
They're like squirrels.
Yes, all the Phillies fans are part squirrel. But Sean, this is a lot of fun. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And thank all of you out there for always tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.